Not sure.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Course in Miracles class at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center, 11 a.m. Welcome to all of you here at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center in person. Thank you. Give yourself a hand for being here. It's a miracle. Yeah. It's a miracle that we're all here together. And also welcome you guys on Zoom. Lovely to see you. And wonderful. Well, let's do a little, like a couple of minute, just opening integration meditation, just to allow ourselves to get present. Had a lot of tech issues and other issues this morning, so let's just actually practice the holy instant and practice being present. Let's do something like that. So, and welcome you guys on Facebook. And so if you have, go ahead and close your eyes and take a breath. Just breathe. And just become present. Let's bring our minds out of the past, out of the future, and allow our awareness to come back home to the present moment now, where everything is waiting for us, everything that we desire in our heart of hearts. This holy instant now, do we give to you, Spirit of Truth and Spirit of Healing? We ask you to decide for healing and joy for us. We ask you to be in charge of this gathering, because we are certain that your direction will bring us peace. So for a moment, let us remember our one self. Let us remember the self we share and feel our unity. Let us feel our oneness. Let us remember the truth that we are not separate. We are not separate from each other, and we are not separate from the source of our creation. And we are not separate from all of creation. For just a moment, let us remember together, and let us celebrate in our heart of hearts the fact that we are one, and that there is no separation. And for this, we have every reason to be wholly joyous now. Just breathe in that remembrance. Breathe in the experience of our unity. Let us feel our one self. And let this feeling of our one self heal our sense of separation and loneliness and fear and all of its effects. Let the idea of separation be banished from our one mind right now. let us remember all of creation, all of the world that we remember this for. Let us remember all the world, that there is no separation. Let us remember for all the world that war, that the idea of conflict might be banished from the one mind we share. To all the world we offer the remembrance of our oneness now. Let us hold the whole world, everyone in the world, in our hearts. Remembering with them and for them that we are not separate, that conflict is not our will. Let us remember for everyone that we have everything. Each and every one of us have it all. So we need not fight. We need not take. Let us remember for all the world that God has given us everything. God has given us everything. Just take another deep breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes and yawn and stretch. Wonderful. Oh, wonderful to see you all today. Wonderful to see you all on Facebook. Beautiful. All right. Doesn't it feel good to just take a moment and remember and to join on remembering that we are not separate? And if there's anything that our planet needs right now, it is us to remember that we are not separate. And God has given us everything. We do not need to fight. We don't need war. We don't need conflict.
Amen.
We don't need that. We don't need that. And we only choose it or side with it or allow it because we have forgotten that whatever we do to another, we are doing to ourselves. And we have forgotten that we, each and every one of us, every aspect of creation has it all. There's no need for conflict or taking. So, if there's anything that the planet needs right now, it's for us to join on that fact. To remember for all the world. So you can feel good about what you're doing this morning. We can feel good about what we're doing this morning on behalf of all the world, all the planet. Okay? All righty then. So we got a little bit of a late start, but so this morning when I went into meditation and I asked Spirit to choose for us what we would read today, and I put in the 3 books of the course, and it pulled up the teacher's manual, and then it pulled up section number 21, what is the role of words in healing? And I was like, oh, this is the annual meeting. How about something juicier? So I was like, how about something juicier, Spirit? And Spirit was like, gave me the look. What, you don't trust me all of a sudden? I have not demonstrated my faithfulness in choosing for you, for you all. And I was like, yeah, never mind. Never mind. All right. Never mind.
21 it is.
21, well, I guess 21 it is. It's lovely to have you here, dear. Wonderful to have you back in Colorado. All right. So, does anybody need a book? We have books up here. All right. So it first starts off speaking about healing. And it says, strictly speaking, words play no part at all in healing. Okay. So, and that is, it's referring to how the teachers of God are to be healers. How the teachers of God are to offer healing. Okay, so you offer healing, you're offering miracles, offering love, offering forgiveness, offering truth. It's the same thing as saying offering healing. So, in offering healing, miracle workers, teachers of God, remember your words play what? No part at all. So, the healing that you are offering, teachers of God, words play no part at all. Don't forget that. When you're offering healing, teachers of God, remember thank you very much, the motivating factor is prayer or asking. So when you're
prayer or asking.
Yes, prayer or asking.
Not but.
That is the motivating prayer, the motivating factor. And also, Greg, I just want to ask you, at some point, check on your phone, because on mine it doesn't appear as if I'm broadcasting. I mean, it says I'm live, but check it out. Okay. So, when you are offering healing, teachers of God, the motivating factor is prayer or asking. Why? Because what you ask for, you receive. But this prayer or this asking refers to the prayer of the heart. So what you're asking for refers to the prayer of your heart, not to the words you use in praying. So this is reminding us that our teacher knows that oftentimes what we're praying for in our heart is not only peace and love and joy. And so it's reminding us that what we're really praying for is not what is coming out of our mouth, not what we say we're praying for. What we are asking for is whatever is going on in our heart, whatever we're asking for in our heart of hearts. And sometimes we're not asking for only love, peace, and joy in our hearts. Okay? But then we're so surprised when we get something back that's different from that. Hey, I said the words, I said my workbook lesson, right? I said that, I said the words, I said I love you, I said thank you, but the prayer of my heart is often something else. So prayer has nothing to do with the words you are saying. It has everything to do with what you are asking for in your heart of hearts. And the Course often says, be honest with yourself and look at what is it that you are asking for in your heart of hearts right now. Be honest with yourself. Okay? What is it? Are you taking delight in the suffering of another? Are you taking delight in, are you wanting someone else to be guilty? Are you wanting yourself to be guilty? Take a look at what you're really asking for, because that is what determines, that's the motivating factor. It says, sometimes the words and the prayer are contradictory. Sometimes the words in our prayer agree. It doesn't matter, because God doesn't understand words. Yeah. God doesn't understand words. Now, is that because God is, has a problem? It says God doesn't understand words. Why is it that God doesn't understand words? Does God have a learning disability? And I understand what you're saying.
Cow.
Yes.
Say God.
Yes. I think we need to teach God how to speak, how to read. God does not understand words because words were made by separated minds to keep separated minds in the illusion of separation. Woo! That's what words were made for, and that's why God does not understand words. So stop focusing on the words you're using and look within. What is it that you're asking for in your heart of hearts? Okay, beautiful. Okay, so then it says, now words can be useful, particularly for the beginner. Why? In helping concentration and facilitating the exclusion or at least control of extraneous thoughts. So that's the right use of words for the beginner. Okay? What? Focusing the mind and controlling what? Facilitate the exclusion of extraneous thoughts. So words are good for that. And then it says, so let us not forget, however, that words are but symbols of symbols. Words are thus twice removed from reality. That's what's going on with words.
You're a two-time loser, words.
Words are two-time losers.
You know,
Yes.
I just have to say, I have a friend who's very into your words are powerful, so
Yes.
whatever you speak, that's what's
Yes.
going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And it's always just tweaked me wrong, and I know I read this before, but I never really, because it's not what I'm saying.
That's
It's
right.
what's really going
That's
on.
exactly
The belief
right.
behind the
And
word.
I really believe that.
Right.
And so I've always
Exactly.
kind of went, okay, you're right. I don't need to say it, but if it's self-deprecating and stuff, she calls me on it, you know.
Mhm.
And I don't need to say that, and that's not a bad thing that she
Right.
does it. But I also need to realize they're just words.
Exactly.
And they're coming from something inside that believes I'm not
Yes.
worth anything.
That's
So
right.
that's what I need to pay attention to, not the words.
That's exactly
So
right.
this is very helpful.
And if you are in a situation where you've been praying and praying and praying and saying the right words and praying and saying a lot of words, a lot of prayer words for another or for yourself, but nothing is changing, then that's probably because what you're asking for in your heart of hearts is different from the words you are using in your prayer, whether you're praying for them or praying for something within your own experience. And how many times have we experienced that? Where I'm praying for an answer or something, and then nothing seems to be coming. Why is that? Is that because God doesn't hear you or God doesn't like you? You know, it's because the words are not matching up. You know, you are getting what you are praying for, what you are asking for in your heart. Okay. Sometimes we're like praying for something, but in our heart of hearts we are angry, or holding a grievance, or feel guilty, right? Okay. So,
Or simply because I'm praying to not do something that I'm
Yes.
doing that I think is bad.
right.
And I pray and pray and pray, but inside I still want to do it.
That's
Or I
very
don't want to
good.
do it. Either way.
Very good.
And I
Very
noticed
good.
that a lot.
That's exactly right. Yeah, when the words are different from what you really want.
Really want.
Yes.
Really want.
What you really want.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So paragraph 2. Thank you for sharing that, Kimberly. As symbols, words have quite specific references. And so, even when the words seem most abstract, the picture which comes to mind is apt to be very concrete. And so, unless a specific reference does occur to the mind in conjunction with a word, the word has little or no practical meaning and thus cannot help the healing process. That's why what it means to say words are symbols and have very specific references. So if you don't have a very specific reference for that word is meaningless. So the prayer of the heart does not really ask for concrete things. Isn't that interesting? The heart doesn't ask for concrete things. The heart doesn't say, I really, really want to come. Right? The heart is asking for experiences. It wants an experience. So in the prayer, in the heart of our hearts, we're asking for an experience of some kind. Not a thing, but an experience. The heart is always requesting some kind of experience, and the specific things that are being asked for from the heart are the bringers of the desired experiences in the judgment of the asker. So that is what the heart is asking for. And then the things that you're asking for is just what you believe is going to bring you that experience. So let's say that, well, I'm praying for a new car. Okay? Does your heart really want a new car? Or does your heart want the experience that you believe that having a new car is going to give you, like freedom to come and go when you desire? Okay? So, So that's what we need to understand when we're looking into our heart of hearts. So, yes, Greg. Would you take that from her? She was about to eat that. Okay, so it says the words then are symbols for the things asked for, but the things themselves only stand for the experiences which are hoped for. Beautiful. Now, the prayer for things of this world will bring experiences of this world. So if the prayer of the heart asks for things of the world, then things of the world will be given because things of the world will be received. Now, it's impossible that the prayer of the heart remain unanswered in the perception of the one who asks. Okay. Beautiful. And so, if you ask for the impossible, which means what? What does it mean to ask for the impossible? If you want what does not exist, or if you're seeking for an illusion in your heart, then the impossible and illusions becomes your own. So it's interesting. So sometimes we're asking for the impossible. Sometimes we're asking for illusions, which means we're asking for things that don't exist. Like, I would like to win, or I would like to be right, or I would like to be proven victorious. Those are things that we're asking for that are illusions, that are impossible. If you're desiring that somebody else be guilty, or if you're desiring that you be guilty, then you are asking for the impossible in your heart of hearts. Okay? You are asking for illusions. So this is a really good exercise, a really good lesson to look at when you are very actively praying for something. You're asking for something, and it does not seem to be manifesting. And what is manifesting seems to be the opposite of what you're asking for. Anybody ever had that experience? Anybody having that experience right now? Okay. I'm like, well, I've been asking for this and that, but it doesn't happen, and the opposite is happening. That's because I am not paying attention to what I'm asking for in my heart of hearts. Right? I'm paying attention to what I'm saying with my mouth, with my words. Okay? Beautiful. The power of your decision offers what you are asking for to you as you request. Whew. So whatever I'm experiencing right now, P.S., is my request. It is coming to me at my request. And if I don't remember asking for that, that's because I haven't been looking at where the real prayer has been. I haven't been looking at what the real prayer, my real prayer is. All right, good to know. And what does it say? The power of our decision offers what we're asking for to us as we request. And herein lie hell and heaven. What are you requesting? What are you desiring? And whatever you are requesting is what you are going to experience. Whatever you are experiencing is what is coming to you at your request. And that truth is what determines hell or heaven in your experience. Whew, wow. Okay, so I'm experiencing hell right now, all right, even though I don't believe it and don't see it because I'm in denial about it, because I'm in denial about what I'm really asking for. I'm going to have to say, this is what I requested coming to me as I requested it. Even if I don't remember requesting it, even if I don't believe yet or perceive yet that that is what I am asking for. I really need to stop paying attention to what I'm saying with my words and really look into my heart of hearts and be honest with myself and see what it is I am asking for. And all you gotta do is start paying attention one time to what you're thinking of when you're upset. That's when you could get totally out of denial to see what you're really asking for. Ooh, don't be looking at what you're asking for when you're in a good mood. But when you're in a bad mood, when you're upset about something, somebody has upset you. What is it that you are asking for in your heart of hearts that you're about to forget that you were asking for? Oh, right, I see. I forget about that. I think that I'm just reacting normally to whatever is presented to me. I'm just having a very instinctual, natural response to whatever is going on right here. Not paying attention at all to the fact that this is coming to me from what I've been asking for in my heart of hearts. And also not paying attention to what I'm asking for in that moment. When you're upset and you're angry and you're sad, what is it that you are asking for in your heart of hearts? Are you saying, I only want truth to correct my obviously erring perception? Is that what you're asking for when you're upset? Or you be like, I really, really want that person to know how incredibly guilty they are or how stupid they are, whatever. Look at what it is that you're asking for when you're upset. That's where you can get honest with yourself about what you're asking for in your heart of hearts. Yes, Matt.
So I'm just recognizing that this idea of what I'm asking for with my words may be a reflection of the so-called face of innocence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That I wear, the mask that I wear to
Yes.
convince myself that I'm innocent and
Yes.
a good person,
Yes.
da 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 da.
Thank you.
But that it's an interesting use also of the word heart here, because I normally associate heart with loving, kindness,
Yes,
good
right.
thing. But this is implying in my interpretation here that my heart can be wounded, my heart can be sick.
Yes.
And I may be unaware of that sickness, but it can really be asking for things that will hurt me.
That's exactly right. And so thank you for saying that in 2 points, that here your heart is what you desire. Your heart is, what do you desire? What do you want? The core of your desire. Absolutely. And in this context, you're right, that the words we use is like the mask that we wear, or the face of innocence that we wear, that enables us to attack in safety or attack and feel justified. I was saying I was including them in my workbook lesson today. And so, their attack was completely unjustified. So the words we're using is the mask we're wearing, the face of innocence that we're wearing, to demonstrate that we're a victim, that something's happening to us that we did not request. That's the core of victim consciousness, is the belief that something can happen to me that I did not request. And that's the mask, that's the face of innocence that I wear. Look what's happening to me that I did not deserve at all. Right? And that victim belief system is 100% denying or unaware of what I am asking for in the core of my desire, my heart of hearts. Right. Yes?
And that part isn't aware of what I really, really want in truth.
That's exactly right.
So it's a level.
That's exactly.
And we're talking about the level of the ego thought system.
That's exactly right. And we're talking about your desire. We're talking about getting out of denial about our desire, in that our desire our desire says the sleeping child of God has but this power of desire left to them.
Keyword sleeping.
Yes.
So it's not your real, the only real desires we have that are really real are the unified desires, and these are separate desires.
Exactly. But the power of our desire
Is there.
is the only power left to us. You know, that's it. That's the whole power. You know, in this experience where we feel so powerless, you know, in the experience of the world, where the core belief is that you are a victim and you have no power, right? Or unless it's the power that you take, right? In the ego belief system. The only power left to us in the ego belief system is the power of our desire.
Wow.
So forget about what you're going to do, the plans that you make, what you say, you know, what you broadcast with your words. What determines 100% what we experience is our desire. And our desire has power. And that's what we've forgotten. That everything is occurring to me according to my desire. And then the physical metaphor being the heart is the metaphor for our desire.
And God does not rescue me from my desire.
And God does not rescue us from our desire. Because why? Because if God rescued you from what you want, God would be proving to you how helpless and how powerless you really are. And that's why God doesn't rescue us from what we desire. The motivating factor is desire. You know, what determines heaven or hell itself comes from our desire. And so all we have, it's wonderful. It saves us so much wasted time and energy in trying to plan or defend or, you know, or analyze. Just forget about all that and go, what do I really want right now? What do I really want right now? Because that is what is going to determine what comes of this. What do I want to come of this? What do I desire? That's what's going to determine everything. So forget all our other plans and defenses to try to get what we want. And just remember, what do you want, child of God? Just go there. You don't need to know how to make something happen. You don't have to know what should be happening. All you need to do is focus on what do I desire, because that is the power that is going to manifest what occurs. I love that. That's going to save us so much time and so much effort in trying to get what we think we want. Yes.
And that goes back to perception. You know, our perception of the world and
that's
other
right.
people.
Exactly.
And our perception of ourselves.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not like that. I'm a nice person.
Yes. I would never want that. I'm a nice person. Okay. Well, the fact that you see yourself as a person, it lets you know that you do not know who you are. And how can you ask for only, you know, peace and love and joy when you don't even know who you are? No. If you think you're a person, then you're going to be asking for things that only a person would value, which is the things of the world. Okay. Yes.
Backtrack to where God will not save us from our desires.
That God, I was just saying what Kimberly said, that God does not save us from our desires, because that would be God proving to us that we're powerless. You know, our power, what did it say? The remaining power left to us as a seeming slave in this world is the power of our desire. You know, and if God intervened between you and the effects of your desire, God will be proving to you that you don't have that power. God wants you to know you have power. You have power. Whatever you desire, you will draw to you. You will manifest. You have power. But if God intervenes in that, then your only remaining power is impotent now. Okay. So that's why God doesn't intervene between what we ask for, what we want, and the experience of it. And so, in the Course, it says that even God, who is not the author of death, must say to us who desire, who are asking for death, thy will be done. Not in reality, but in your perception. Why? Because God has got to allow us to experience our power. Because in that power of desire lies heaven or hell. That's no small power there. That determines heaven or hell in your experience. So that's what God wants us to learn. Whatever you desire, you will manifest. That's your power. And so, and now do it backwards. Whatever you're experiencing, remember, the first thing you want to tell yourself is, somehow I desired this. Somehow I desired this. And if I was really honest with myself, I would have seen that I did it this morning. That I desired chaos, and I desired pain, and I desired suffering when I was desiring guilt, when I was desiring somebody else to be guilty, when I was desiring that I be guilty. I didn't realize that I was asking for punishment for myself, and because of my decision and my desire has power, I manifested it. That is, the Course in Miracles says, that is the key to happiness, that's the key to salvation. I am doing this unto myself, which means somehow I desired this. Just like I'm desiring it right now by being angry and desiring that they be guilty. I'm still doing it. Right. Okay.
And I love that you say, I desire they be guilty.
Yes.
I'm going to suffer for that.
Exactly.
Say that again.
What'd she say? The fact that I desire that they be guilty, I'm the one that's going to suffer for that thought.
Yes.
And that desire.
And anger is the desire that someone feel guilty.
Yes.
Remember, the Course in Miracles says you would never experience or choose anger if you didn't believe that it proved somebody to them that they were guilty. So anger is the desire for guilt. Now we think that the anger is, I'm desiring guilt for them, and I can desire guilt for them, and then I can get off scot-free. That's the illusion. That's the delusion by which I am asking for punishment and being, but because my words say, I offer you only forgiveness, then I'm in total denial about how I'm asking for crap to seem to happen to me. Me who I've given, I don't understand why this is happening to me. I've given only love with my words. With my words. You know. Yeah, well, what was it that you were giving when you were angry? Oh. Okay. All right. So, I love it. So it says, the sleeping children of God have but this power left to them. But guess what? Thank God, this power of desire is enough. The power of your desire, that's all the power you got left, and it's enough. Thank you, God. Your words do not matter. Woo, that's just like, we all love words in here. Our words do not matter. Only the Word of God has any meaning, because the Word of God symbolizes that which has no human symbols at all. And the Holy Spirit alone understands what God's Word stands for. And this too is enough. So, we don't need words. Our words don't mean anything. That's fine. We don't need them. All we need is God's Word. What does God say? What's the Word of God? That's all. You don't need your words. Your words don't matter. All you need is the Word of God. What does God say? Who cares what I say? It doesn't matter what I say. All that matters is, what does God say about this? What does God say about this person? What does God say about this situation? What does God say about you? That's the only words that matter. So let's go to that and save ourselves the punishment that's going to come from putting our focus on our words instead of the prayer of our heart. Okay. Beautiful. Questions or comments? About to start paragraph 4. All right, let's take a breath. Getting out of denial today.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, you want to change in any situation that you feel victimized by? This is the way to have a real deal change. It is the only way. Because any other way, you are not exercising your power. You are just affirming your powerlessness, your hopelessness, your victimness. Okay? This is the way to effect a real change in anything. Now, it says in paragraph 4, are we, the teachers of God, then to avoid the use of words in our teaching? No, indeed. No, because there are many people who must be reached through words. And why must these people be reached through words? Because these folks are as yet unable to hear in silence. So there's a lot of people who still need those words.
Or even get silence.
Exactly. They are unable as yet to hear in silence. Yeah, because they don't want any silence. You ever been around somebody who never wants silence? It makes you want to get away from them to have some silence. All right. So there's many people who have not and who are as yet unable to hear in silence, and these people, they are many people who must be reached through your words. So you, teacher of God, must, however, learn to use words in a new way. So they need your words, but you, teacher of God, must learn to use words in a new way. So we must learn to use words in a new way. We, teachers of God, are learning how to use words in a new way. That's what we're doing here through A Course in Miracles. Learning how to use words in a new way. What is a new way to use words? It is this. Gradually, you are learning how to let your words be chosen for you. That's a new use of words. That would be different. Before I use my words, I actually ask. I let my words be chosen for me before I use some words. I ask the higher power, the higher love, hey, what words would you have me say? Would you please decide for me what words I'm about to use? That would be different, eh? So different.
Yes.
Yes.
I was thinking of all of this in a sense of stepping beyond this sense of time. So if we go back for a moment to this point of what do my words indicate compared to my heart, I was thinking, put this into a present moment, reclaiming power that I am. And I say, these words are stories that go round and round. The desire of my heart is, I only want peace, I want love. But you see, I'm still speaking in a time sequence. Why would I want something that I am not? So claim my identity. Say, I am divine, I am peace, I am love in this moment. Now, if I could use a phrase, now, out of the abundance of my heart, let the words speak.
Beautiful. How about that? I say we try that. Beautiful. So, us learning to use words in a new way for the people who need words, because they can't listen yet in silence, is us learning how to let our words be chosen for us. That is, that would make the most radical change of all, because how often do we wait and ask before we speak?
Almost never.
Almost never.
Which goes back to the hearing in silence.
Yes, which goes back to the hearing in silence. Exactly. Exactly. That's what we're supposed to do, is listen in silence before our words. Oh my God, what a radical change that would be.
That slows it down too much.
That slows it down too much. I got plans.
Got
I got some
time for
things that
that.
need to happen. I got some folks who need to see that I know the truth. So that slows it down too much.
I got time for that. Hey God, I'll be up here telling everybody what's going on. You catch up when you can, all right?
God's like, I've been trying to choose your words for you, but you haven't given me a chance. You know how when you're talking to somebody and they're just talking stop, and they never give you a moment to speak yourself? That's what we're doing to God. You know how irritated we are when people do that? That's us to God. It's like, and then, you know, God's like,
And then we go, thus saith the Greg.
exactly.
I think of how often I've been coming up with all the answers and things to something myself and don't know how to go to bed. And in that quiet, between waking and sleeping, the inspiration comes. The words come exactly.
Yes, that's exactly right. You know, that it's almost like when you speak before you ask, before you wait in silence, you can pretty much rest assured that's often gonna be your words. You know, but when you do rest in silence and give what you would communicate to your higher self, to God, to Spirit, you can rest assured that that's usually going to be Spirit that you hear after you have waited in silence. Yeah, beautiful. Wow, okay. That is definitely learning to use words in a new way. Absolutely. Let's try that this week and see what happens, and then let's report back to each other what happens when we try that. Especially if you are upset. At the very, very least, if you're upset, develop the practice of waiting in silence and asking God or Spirit to decide for you what words that you use. I mean, if you're happy and loving and you don't wait in silence and then you use your words, it's, you know, chances are okay that, something loving could come through. But if you're upset, you're not happy, you're angry, you're sad, you're feeling guilty, and you don't wait in silence and ask love to choose your words for you, then you are literally just setting up some more punishment. You're just putting in the order for more punishment to come your way. You just putting in the order, order up.
Order up.
It's more punishment. I deserve some more punishment.
What fries with that?
Condemnation.
Do you want fries with that? Yes.
Thus the great Greg has spoken.
Yes, thus the great Greg has spoken. It says, because when you ask that your words be chosen for you by love, you are ceasing to decide for yourself what you will say. I am ceasing to decide for myself what I will say. Boy, doesn't that take pressure off of us? We should be thrilled. Oh, wonderful. I'm tired. It's a headache trying to decide what I'm going to say all the time. And then trying to make sure people listen. Right? That is a headache. That is a lot of effort. And it's a lot of strain. It says, now this process of ceasing to decide what you will say and asking that your words be chosen by love, this process is merely a special case of the lesson in the workbook which says, I'm going to step back and let God lead the way. It's just the same thing. I'm going to step back and let God lead the way. I'm going to say, God, would you please choose the words I speak so that I'm not deciding what I will say by myself? Same thing. Now, we, the teachers of God, we accept the words which are offered us, and we give the words we receive. That's what we do as teachers of God. That's what we do as teachers of God. We accept the words which are offered us after we ask, and then we give the words that we receive. We don't control the direction of our speaking. Woo! That's what teachers of God do. That's what healers do. That's what people who make a positive difference in the world, in every situation, that's what they do. That's what we are supposed to do. That's part of our job description. That's in our job description. Teacher of God, your part of your job description is you don't control the direction of your speaking. Instead, you listen and you hear and then you speak. Say what? You listen, then you hear. Isn't that interesting? First you listen, then you hear, then you speak. Speaking is the last thing that you do. That's what we do as teachers of God. That's what we do as healers for the world. That's how we fulfill our function as teachers and healers. That's how we do it. You want to be a teacher? You want to be a teacher of peace? You want to be a healer? Lord knows there's no job or function that is more desperately needed on this planet at this time. Truly, there is no profession more desperately needed on this planet at this time than people who are teachers of peace and teachers of God and teachers of love. And how you do it, you do not control the direction of your speaking. You listen and you hear and you speak. And that's how you do it. That's how you work miracles. That's how you be a miracle worker. Wow. It's not, I become so enlightened, I become so accomplished, I become so smart, I read a lot of books, I write a lot of books. That's not how you do it. You don't control the direction of your speaking. You allow your words to be chosen for you by love. You listen, then you hear, then you speak. Wow. Now it's going to go on to talk about a major hindrance to this. What makes this so difficult for us? Why do you suppose that this is so hard for us? Well, a major hindrance in this aspect of our learning is our fear about the validity of what we hear. Our fear is about the validity of what we hear. So that's a major hindrance in us fulfilling our function as teachers and healers. Is when I hear it, I'm going to be like, what? Are you sure you want me to say that? Do you know who I'm talking to? You know what happened to the last guy who said that, right? God. Okay. Our major hindrance to fulfilling our function as teachers and healers is our fear about the validity of what we hear. And what we hear may indeed be quite startling. You better believe it. It's going to be quite startling because it wasn't our thought. It wasn't our idea. So if you're hearing the voice of God, you better believe it's going to be startling because it's not going to be what you were thinking. So if you're hearing something and it's exactly what you were thinking before you asked, it's probably a clue that it was not the voice of God. The voice of God, God's answer has to be something that's completely different, downright opposite than what you had been thinking. You who made the problem. So when you hear the voice of God, you better believe it's going to be startling. Because it's got to be opposite to what you're thinking if it's the answer, if it's the word of God. So, and indeed, what you hear may indeed be quite startling, and what you hear from the voice of God may also seem to be quite irrelevant to the presented problem as you see the problem. And what you hear from the voice of God may in fact confront you, the teacher, with a situation that appears to be very embarrassing. It's like, I can't say that. That would be very embarrassing for me to say that, right? And what does it say? And also what I just heard from the voice of God, how does we're all one answer the problem of the world at war, right? you know, what you hear may seem like it doesn't have anything to do with, it may seem completely irrelevant to the problem as we see it. And so I don't want to say that to them because they're going to think I'm crazy, and that will be very embarrassing for me. And this is a major hindrance in us fulfilling our function as teachers of God. Okay? First of all, I don't listen. I don't ask. And then when I do, when a miracle happens, then I think to myself, that is too weird. That's not at all what I was thinking. And it doesn't seem to have anything to do with what the problem is that's perceived, and that's going to force me to feel very embarrassed. So that's why I'm not going to be a teacher of God. That's why I'm just going to teach what I think. I'm going to be a teacher of Anna. Right.
Do you have an example? A concrete?
Well, let's say that, let's say that I'm talking with somebody who is having a problem. Let's say that they think that their problem is that their neighbor is harassing them. And so as they're talking about their problem with their neighbor is harassing them, right? I'm saying, Holy Spirit, voice for God, would you please choose my words for me as I'm responding to this person who thinks that who's complaining that their neighbor is harassing them. And so then, so I ask that my words be chosen, I listen, then I hear, and what I heard was, you have been harassing somebody. Who is it that you've been harassing? Well, I'm not, but she doesn't think that that's her problem. She doesn't think that her problem is that who has she been harassing? But that's what I heard. So now I say, so who is it that you've been harassing? And then that person looks at me and goes, you're insane. I haven't been harassing anybody. How dare you? And then now I feel embarrassed. Okay? See? Okay. Thanks for asking for an example. And a million examples like that. What you hear is to them, to the person, to you and them, the answer seems completely irrelevant. They weren't saying, gee, I have a problem because I'm harassing people at work. They said, I have a problem, my neighbor is harassing me. You see? So the answer that you hear is going to be startling, and it's not going to seem to answer the problem as you perceive it. But you are the teacher of God, you are the teacher, that's your job, is to hear answers that are coming from a higher source, the one who knows. That's your job. And it's your job to not only listen for it, but it's also your job to use words to speak it. And that can feel very startling and embarrassing sometimes. So sometimes it feels very shocking and embarrassing to do your job. Just want you to know.
Just like doing the lessons.
Exactly. And and that's just one hindrance. There's the other hindrance where if I do my job, then what happens to people who do their job as teachers of God, right? There's another teeny tiny little hindrance to us fulfilling our function. If I speak the truth, then what happens to people who speak the truth, to people who don't want to hear the truth. What happens when you tell somebody the truth and they don't want to hear the truth? What happens? Attack.
They don't want to be a friend anymore.
Exactly. They'll unfriend you on Facebook. Oh, the horrors. That's the best that could happen, is they unfriend you from Facebook. But this is a manual for teachers. This is what our teacher wants us to understand and learn about fulfilling our function as teachers of God. And until we fulfill our functions as teachers of God, we will feel unfulfilled. We will suffer. We will suffer the despair of the feeling of function unfulfilled. You recognize that? That feeling like, I know I got something important and good to do, but I just don't feel like I'm doing it. It's a core despair. I just don't feel like I'm filling. I know I'm here to do something good, but I just don't know what it is. I don't feel like I'm doing it. So until you fulfill your function, then the despair of function unfulfilled will haunt you, of Course in Miracles says. So here's our job, we got to do it, but here's the things that we need to learn and to remember in order to do it, and here's the obstacles that we need to learn about so that we can overcome those obstacles. We can be aware of them, overcome them, and fulfill our function, and experience true happiness. And happiness doesn't come from having this or having that. Happiness doesn't come from doing this or doing that. Happiness comes from, I am doing what I was created to do. I am doing what I was created to do. That's why I'm happy. That's why I love my life. Not because I have all the money and the power, fame, money, peace, and pleasure in the world. I am happy. I feel satisfied because I'm doing what I was created to do. That's why I love myself and I love my life. I'm fulfilling my function as a teacher of God, as a teacher of love. Okay, beautiful. So then it says, and all of these judgments, this is startling, this is embarrassing, I can't say that. All of these are judgments which have no value. All of these are judgments that are our own judgments coming from a shabby self-perception which we would leave behind. So all those feelings of embarrassment, I can't say that. That all comes from our shabby self-perception. I can't say that because, what do I know? I'm just little old me. Okay? I can't say that because who am I? I mean, I'm just a nobody. I can't say that to that person. I can't ask God to choose my words for me. Okay? All those fears of the validity of what you hear and the embarrassment to say it are just our judgments coming from a shabby self-perception which we're trying to leave behind, which we want to leave behind. So, given all that, here's the to-do. To-do! Ready for the to-do? The instructions? Don't judge the words that come to you after you have asked. Okay. After you have asked, the words be chosen for you, don't judge the words that come to you. What should I do? Instead of judge the words that come to me, offer them in confidence. That's the to-do. Okay. I hear what I'm not supposed to do, but what am I supposed to do as a teacher of God? It says, and why is it that you should offer these words that come to you in confidence? Because these words are far wiser than your own. And God's teachers, us, we have God's word behind our symbols or our words. Us, teachers of God, we have God's word behind our words. Isn't that beautiful? Imagine how good that's going to feel when you've got God's word behind your words. Woo! So that when you speak words, you got God's word back in your words. And that's when you feel power. Boom! You say what you heard after you asked and listened. And then boom, you see the power, coming through your words. But it's not because of the words, but it's because of the power because God's word was behind it. And God himself gives to the words you use the power of God's Spirit. I love that. God is going to give to the words you use the power of God's Spirit. In other words, God is going to raise your words from meaningless symbols to the call of heaven itself. Wow. How about that? Where your words are the call of heaven itself. People hear your words and they hear heaven. Dang. That's gotta feel good. When people hear your words, they heard the call of heaven itself through your words. Very nice. All right. Okay. So now, questions or comments? What did you hear? Yes, George.
So this whole lesson kind of reminds me of the workbook lesson. I do not perceive my own best interests.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the great thing about the course is I feel that Jesus is gently helping the character of George kind of get out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Absolutely. That God is helping you to get out of the way so that God can express God's love, to whoever God has brought to you and has put in front of you. Beautiful. Thank you.
This also underscores the ego maxim that the ego speaks first and loudest.
Thank you. The ego speaks first and loudest.
And gives us the formula for bypassing that.
And then the Course gives us the formula for bypassing it. Absolutely. And that's why we need to listen, then hear, then speak, because the ego always speaks first. That's what the Course in Miracles tells us. The ego always speaks first. Why? Because the ego is defensive. Because the ego is an illusion. The ego doesn't know the truth. And so it's defensive. And that's why the ego always speaks first. Just like we do when we're feeling defensive. What do we do when we're feeling defensive? We speak first and loudest, to make sure that no other words can get in. Yes, thank you, Matt. Yes.
Years ago, 50 years ago, one of my children died. And long before I met the Course, or the Course found me, I was asked, I had an amazing experience about 5 years later, and I shared it with somebody at the spiritual center I was going, and he said to me, you must get up and give a talk about this. And I said, I can't. And he said, I know you can't. He said, go home and write your words. What do you think you're going to say? Read them before you leave home, but leave them there. And Spirit will give you the words. And it was a very powerful experience, both for me and for the people that I was sharing with. And that's where I think, I'm searching all my life for the right spiritual path. And that was a Christian organization. But fortunately, that guy was gifted. But it was when I picked this book up, when I needed something to read on the plane home after visiting my daughter, and she had it on the bookshelf, and I'd never looked at it. And I thought, this is it. I couldn't put it down.
Wow. That's beautiful, because what I hear you saying is that you had an experience where you stepped back and then let God choose your words for you. And you had an actual experience of that, and you experienced the power of that.
I did. I really did.
Yes.
And that gave me, when I got to make a difficult phone call or anything, I never think about what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I just pick the phone up.
Yes.
And it's okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that experience of letting your words be chosen for you, and the power that you experienced as a result of that. Yes.
Sorry, Trudy, I think I got the order wrong. So, because when you were saying it, I'm like, what? So you ask first, listen.
Yes, it says you let your words be chosen for you. It's the same as saying you stop deciding for yourself what you would say. So like there's a line in the Course that says give what you would say to Holy Spirit. So something that I often do when I'm concerned about what to say is I say, Spirit, please decide for me what I am to say. Which is the same as saying, please choose for me what I am to say. Or you could say, God, please speak through me. Or God, what would you have me say? And then listen, and then hear.
Okay, that's where I was confused. Listen and hear, they
Yeah.
sound like the same.
Doesn't it? It's interesting. So
It's
it's
implying
making
waiting.
yes, it's making you wait. It's making you wait, and it's implying that first you're going to hear the words, the word of God's Spirit, but then also it implies that there's a hearing. Like I hear what you say. You know, I hear the words. I'm listening to the words, but now I hear what you're saying. So it's like 2 levels of listening. And I love what you say, and it forces you to wait. It's forcing you gotta listen, then hear. Yeah, that means you gotta wait. You know, that's 2 levels. It's in a way two levels of listening. I hear the words you're saying, but I get what you mean. And then I'll speak.
And like what Matt said, you listen. First you hear the loudest,
Yes.
and then you hear the softer.
Yeah. First, exactly. First, you're going to hear your ego. The ego always speaks first.
Yeah.
So remember that part. You know. So the ego speaks first and loudest. So remember that, so that you can discern. If you hear something that's loudest and first, and you didn't even take the time to ask, to step back and let your words be chosen for you, then you can be sure that that's the ego, and that if you speak it, you're going to regret it. So, beautiful. Anything else? Yes, Trudy?
Sometimes we don't know the end result. Sometimes they do get angry and attack, but
Yeah.
sometimes they don't say a word.
That's right.
And that happened with me. I was studying shamanism, and we did a little exercise where we went to the edge as far as you can go toward heaven, call it what you will. And we did this in group, and I met a person I knew. And this person had a message and asked me to deliver it. And so, being the good girl I am, I went there and I delivered the message, and I got no response whatsoever then or later, and this person was well known to me. So I think that non-judgmental is a big piece.
Yes.
In listening and doing and carrying out, but at the same time not expecting to fully understand in this or other instances.
That's exactly right. You know, when we do what we're being asked to do, which is to be messengers of the words of God, that, when we do what we're supposed to do, even though it seems weird and startling and a little embarrassing, that you don't often see the powerful result, but you will experience the result. You may not perceive it in that moment, but you will get the benefit of having been the channel, the messenger. There's no chance that you be a messenger for the Word of God and you not get the benefit, even though you may not recognize how what it came from. But there's no way that you don't get the benefit if you're allowing God's Word to come through you. So
the connection is the benefit.
Exactly. There's no chance you don't get a benefit. It's not like I was a messenger for the voice for God, and then what did I get? A poke in the eye. That's not going to happen. So you don't have to worry about. Am I going to get the benefit through this person right here?
Right. No question. Question. I felt the benefit of being the messenger.
Very good. Beautiful. All right. Okay. So is the pizza here?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So, you guys, what we're going to do now is everybody will just leave their seat and go get pizza and then come right on back and we'll have our annual meeting. Okay?
Do you want to pass the basket?
Yes, let's pass the basket. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julie. I love it.
Let me put this in the basket.
Okay. I'm just going to start this here, and you guys just pass it back. All right. Thank you guys watching on Facebook or YouTube. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.